Welcome. Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Bill Roth, who is the Director of Cloud Economics at VMware. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you very much, Jessica.
What is cloud economics?
Well, that's a great opening question. As you know, economics is really the study of human decision making.
Okay.
This is really how we take that study of economics and move it into the decisions that people make about the cloud.
Okay, because a lot of companies are now transitioning to the cloud and having to decide, do I do multi-cloud? Do I do hybrid cloud? Do I do all cloud, right?
I'm really glad you brought this up because I think when Amazon, for example, started to get really big, I think people thought that there was just going to be a whole-scale migration to the cloud. Well, in 2019, I think people are starting to come to a realization that there is a breakdown where a piece of the cloud will always remain inside, on-premise. But there is value for certain workloads, for certain types of apps that will move out into the cloud. So part of our job at VMware in our Cloud Economics group is to help people make the right decisions.
Okay.
And give them a framework for making those decisions so that they put the right resources in the right place, hopefully at the lowest total cost.
Okay, so you actually help them go through the little details to figure out the cost, the risk, and the payouts and all of that. So it's very consultative, customized.
You've hit it exactly right. So we have kind of a two-step process. We have a model where we actually work with the Cloud Economics group at Amazon. And we take information from the customers, we build a model, then we extend the model and actually collaboratively work with them to make sure our labor rates are correct, to make sure that we have the same power costs that they have, so that they can make the right decision about what pieces of their IT infrastructure to move to the cloud. In many cases, we're seeing business critical workloads, things with databases, those are moving to the cloud unless they've got data that's of government nature or in certain, because my business is global, certain cases where the data has to remain in country or the data has to remain in-house, that then stays on-premise. Okay. So it's quite a fun endeavor because we're doing it in a way that I think really helps the customer in a transparent way, because at the end of the day, it's all spreadsheets. So they can see the formulas and see the math. So
there's no bias, or do you think there can be bias?
So it's a really good point you bring up, because one of my sort of favorite pieces of economics is sort of the late 20th century. There was an extension of economics that was known as behavioral economics. And a number of people got Nobel Prizes over it, and it really studied how people make economic decisions, and they make incorrect decisions because of their biases. And so what we find in cloud is that there are a number of biases when people make decisions whether or not to move to the cloud. And one of those biases is whether it's a confirmation bias. So they believe cloud is great and they move even though it may not be correct. It may be, they may be have too much faith in their own opinions. Other kinds of bias are blind spots where people misjudge the labor costs. And people forget to factor in that sometimes when you have to rewrite an application to move to the cloud, the project fails in about 30% of the cases.
Wow, that's pretty high.
It is.
Scary.
It is. And so we help to build models where help people understand that risk. Because if you spend 9 months on a project and it fails, you have to start all over. And if it's a time-bound project, that can be a serious problem.
Okay, so what are some of the challenges that you see customers face when they go through this analysis?
So I think one of the main challenges they face is they actually don't know what's running. And so surprisingly, the good news is we've got tools to help them figure out what's running. One of the other challenges is they haven't spent any time optimizing their environments. Okay. Now that actually works out to be a positive because oftentimes they can move to the cloud and take advantage of putting more of their workloads onto a smaller footprint by optimizing it. I think some of the other challenges that people face, and I'm glad you brought this up, is finding skills. We all know that certainly here in Silicon Valley, everybody who wants a job has a job. Trying to find somebody new with cloud skills is incredibly difficult.
Okay.
There was a study by the London School of Economics that said that up to 68% of businesses see hiring as a major factor in slowing down the adoption of cloud.
The innovation too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's clearly in its different markets. Here we know the Bay Area is bad, but it's bad just about everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so that's another challenge. And that leads to yet another challenge, which is that means they have to train people. Training people actually pulls people off what they're doing, reduces productivity, and costs money. People forget to factor that in when they try to figure out how much time and money is it going to cost for me to move to the cloud.
Yes. So, Bill, I'm curious, what led you to this role? What have you, I guess in the past skills that brings you to this role?
So, I think that my particular career has been pretty varied. I think I've done every job in high tech except finance. I started out as an engineer, worked on JavaSoft back in the days on Java. Got a chance to do some great work at BEA, especially in their tools division. But came to VMware in about 2013. I had actually been CMO of a small startup around log management, and they were starting a product called Log Insight. So they brought me in to launch the product. And from there, really been getting involved in management tools like around vRealize operations. I got a chance to work on VMware's Wavefront acquisition, which is a great real-time data platform, and wanted to kind of break out of the standard product marketing kinds of things. Now, I have a background in public policy, and as a direct result, when a job to do cloud economics came up, I jumped at it.
All right.
It wasn't quite a perfect fit, but sometimes you got to take risks.
Right. No, I think it's a great job because you're helping clients to come up with actual ROI in order to help them make decisions. And how long does this process usually take when someone's interested in getting the economics?
It depends, and I'll tell you what. I think that there's three kinds of kind of situations we get involved in. The first is we have a champion there, and that champion literally wants us to help make the case, give it to him so he can make to his boss. And I have done everything where I've literally actually built slides for someone. So we'll do whatever it takes to get the model to help out our champion. In other cases, it's someone who's not quite sure. So we really have to convince them. And sometimes the economics can help kind of convince them that we can save them money. Now, you end up having to really crawl through the numbers and show them what the formulas mean and show them, literally what the basis for this is. The final case is when someone's got their own TCO model or their own economic model, and so we have to basically fight it out and whose model is better. Those are the tough ones.
And is this tool available publicly where anyone can go and try to self use it? For the first,
so I'll tell you what, coming soon. Right now we have a site called vmcsizer.vmware.com, and that's where someone can take their existing VMware environment, their existing virtual environment, and size it up to figure how much would they need on the cloud. Coming soon, we'll actually have a very nice TCO tool where they can build their own TCO analysis.
Okay. Well, I know Regalix has been doing a ton of work for VMware, and you know as well, so,
We will be calling you shortly. Huge fan of the work Regalix does. As I mentioned to one of your leaders, Regalix is just like a vending machine. You put some money in, you get great product out.
So thank you.
Yep. It's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure doing business with Regalix these past 6 years.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing about cloud economics. I've not had this conversation before, and hopefully the audience finds it really fascinating and come to you for help.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure to work with Regalix.
Thanks you very much, Bill. There you have it. Check it out with Jessica Lee, Bill Roth from VMware.